Good afternoon. We are starting with an important panel discussion, and this is one of the most important one as I consider. It's Borlaug's torch, lighting the next pathway. I think we are here all after these 2 days discussion to see as to what are we looking ahead and what should be our roadmap for nutrition, food, and environmental security. I have with me a panel of eminent persons. First, we have with us Mr. Saranjit Singh, a farmer in Uttar Pradesh. His association with Simit began in 2000 when he first introduced the laser land leveling, and then also initiated work on zero-till in wheat based cropping systems, also direct seeded rice and bed planting of maize. Rest he will be telling us when we request him to talk about his experiences of using new technologies for our future food security. Next to him is Dr. Navtej Bains. Many of you must be knowing. He is the Director of Research, Punjab Agricultural University. Rather, he had been Director of Research, and basically a wheat breeder and leader of the wheat improvement team from 2012 to 2017, and later served as Director of Research at the university. His research priorities included use of wide hybridization, market-assisted selection, and doubled haploid for varietal development. Next to him is well known to, I think, every one of us after these 2 days of deliberations, Julie Borlaug. We are proud that she is with us as granddaughter of Dr. Borlaug, but in her own, competence, she has been for 22 years successfully worked in international agriculture development, agricultural communications, and external and corporate relations. As the granddaughter, she works to champion his legacy. So she is carrying actually also the torch as we carry for Dr. Borlaug, and lends a voice to his desire to see more successful collaboration, partnership across sectors and scientific disciplines to bring better and faster innovation to end hunger. She is the president of Borlaug Consulting and the Borlaug Foundation. So welcome also, Julie, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. Next is again not unfamiliar to us. Only a few days back we had celebrated centenary of our beloved Bharat Ratna, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, Madhura Swaminathan, the daughter of Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, but in her own, present position as professor and head of the Economic Analysis Unit and member of the World Food Prize Foundation Council of Advisors. And she works at Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore. Madhura is a famous economist, known for his economic analysis, and her publications are quite popular, which some of you might have also seen. Weakening welfare, and she has authored 10 books, has got more than 30 years of experience, and she was brought up on this famous USA campus. So welcome you, Madhuraji. Good to have you with us. And our last panelist is also again very eminent leader in the women's sector, Dr. Usha Barwale. She leads Grow Indigo Private Limited, a joint venture between Myco Grow and Indigo Ag USA. And she is also chairperson and executive director of Grow Indigo. And she is doing very pioneering work relating to carbon trading and how to help smallholder farmers for carbon trading and use good agronomic practices by which there is carbon sequestration and they are provided support for their environmental services. With this, I would like to just give you a background. Being a moderator, and I have been asked to just tell in terms of legacy of Dr. Borlaug. We all know the torch that he ignited is still shining, and we would like to see that it shines and reaches yet newer heights to address the concerns of global food security. Borlaug had worked very closely with our leader, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, and both of them are referred as father of Green Revolution. And Dr. Barwale, who had also received the World Food Prize, and we are proud of him as initiator of seed sector in India. So the two persons, Borlaug and Dr. Swaminathan, are known for their achieving Green Revolution, whereas Dr. B.R. Barwale is known for seed revolution in our country. I also would like to say that through wheat, India could get a sense of self-sufficiency. It was only when the new seeds, dwarf seeds using Norin 10 gene from Japan, which Dr. Borlaug had utilized, which also had photoinsensitivity. 4 varieties were introduced in the beginning in 63, 64, and out of those, Sonora 64, Larmaro 64A, and Mayo 64, etc. were tried, and at that time, I myself had joined this institute to do my PhD, and we were going with these leaders to the adjoining villages, and I still recollect how in Jaunti village we used to go early in the morning and dibble the seeds because quantity of seed was not enough and we need to produce as much as possible. Then in 66, 67, a great policy, important policy decision was taken by our leaders where a decision was taken of importing 18,000 tons of wheat seed from Mexico. Dr. Borlaug used to many times narrate how difficult it was because time was only 3 months to select the crop, have the crop harvested there, arrange for the ships and make sure that there are proper quarantine arrangements on both sides and they reach here in time. but that made the difference. 1966, 67, and in the history in the whole world, you would not find import of seed to that level in any part of the world. That triggered the process. And in 67, 68, using that quantity and whatever we had earlier produced of those varieties and the research that had been done in Pusa Institute, at PAU and at Pantnagar resulted in the quantum jump of wheat production from 12 million tons to that of 17 million tons. You could never think of 5 million tons increase in production of one crop, and that time we were importing, we were even eating red wheats, and even our leaders had given the call for observing, fast, one day fast and for every individual family. This led to Green Revolution, and Srimati Indira Gandhi, that time the Prime Minister, released a stamp, and it heralded the era of Green Revolution in this country. Just I am trying to remind this that it was not an easy task, but it was possible because we had science behind it. Unless those seeds were, miracle seeds were available, unless there was partnership between Dr. Borlaug and Dr. Swaminathan and even the seed sector, Dr. Barwale, these things possibly would have not happened. By 1970, we doubled our wheat production from 12 to almost 23.8 million tons. And then, since then, for us, there is never looking back. We have been producing every year about 5 to 6 million tons extra food grains. And today, despite of floods, droughts, and terminal heat, climate change, we have been moving ahead and ahead. Genetic gains had been there, the resilience in agricultural production has come, and we also have been happy that based on that achievement, Dr. Norman Borlaug, the only agricultural scientist in the world who was given the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970, and at that time he had clearly given the call for more investment for agriculture research, for development, more support for biotechnology, and also he said that there cannot be peace on empty stomach. So we need to provide food, and every individual has that right. And that's how we are happy that even in India today, we have an act which we passed in 2013 called Food Security Act, in which we are providing free food to the level of about 5 kg per family, to the extent of almost 67%. This has resulted in reducing poverty to a considerable extent. The poverty from almost that time 40%, it has come down to 15%, and in some states even zero, like Punjab. And we have in fact seen remarkable progress in the area of food grain production. Food grain production, despite the odd seasons over the last 2 decades, has not slowed down. And we convened a meeting in 2015 whether India can have 100 million tons of wheat. We achieved it by 2017. Many thought it was not possible, and recently we have organized another national dialogue through Trust of Advancement of Agriculture Sciences, with which I am associated, that when India can be a global player as far as wheat production is concerned. So we have to now see as to whether we can increase our per hectare productivity from 3.6 to 5 tons. We already have enough area, 30 million tons, higher than even China. And from 3.6 to 5, I don't see is a difficult task, provided we have continued progress on genetic enhancement and also towards good agronomic practices for resilience in wheat production. Our consumption, I said the other day, is around 90 million tons. We are producing currently 117. India has become a global player now already in terms of wheat exports, but we have to make it more sustainable, because for our strategic regions for food security, we would like to maintain a buffer stock of wheat despite whatever is our requirement of around 20 to 25 million tons. So we need to produce, we need to bring in efficiency, we need to still make use of new science, and there are options of it, and this session is going to specifically address those opportunities by which this lighting the next pathway and carrying this torch which Dr. Borlaug had given in our hands, we possibly would like to see that it is carried not only to support only one nation, but support globally. There are many technological advances. I would not go into the details of those. I think our experts will talk about it, by which we can continue increasing the production and productivity. And therefore, now with this background, I come to our panelists and request them to start with Ranjit Singh ji. आपके पास 4 मिनट हैं. Every panelist has 4 minutes. आप काइंडली सजेस्ट करें कि किस तरह से बॉर्लॉग साहब की जो लीगेसी है उसको हम आगे ले जा पाएंगे, और इनोवेशंस क्या हैं जो आपने भी ट्राई किए हैं फार्म पे, नई नई टेक्नोलॉजीज़ और जो ट्राई किया है उससे किस तरह से हम और प्रोडक्शन, प्रोडक्टिविटी और फार्मर के इनकम को बढ़ा पाएंगे.
हेलो, नमस्कार जी सबको. ऐसे मेरे को वो दिन याद है 1966 के, जब हमारी भूसा ज़्यादा होता था, गेहूं कम होती थी. हम कहते थे भाई गेहूं तो है ही नहीं, तो किसान की जो ज़्यादा पैदावार उसके भूसे से की नहीं जाती, कितने बोंगे जा वो बांधता है और उसकी गेहूं को नहीं कोई पूछता. जब नए बीज आए, मैक्सिकन वैराइटीज आई, तो हमने भी बोई, तो एकदम 3 गुना वो यील्ड बढ़ गई. तो सभी बातें करने लगे हम किसान लोग, कमाल हो गया जी, ये कैसे हो गया. और हमें तो यकीन ही नहीं आ रहा था भी वाकई हमारे खेतों ने इतनी यील्ड दे दी. फिर पता लगा भाई बॉर्लॉग साहब की मेहरबानी से ये सब हुआ, उन्होंने नई नई वैरायटियाँ ये करी हैं. हमारे जी में ये था, कभी वो दिख जाएं, जहाँ कभी मेले में लुधियाना यूनिवर्सिटी में, एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी में आए या कहीं भी हों, हम उनके दर्शन कर लें। तो हमेशा मेरे जीव में बना रहा, इतना बना रहा भी मेरे लिए तो एक भगवान का रूप थे वो। तो क्यों एकदम हमारे लिए 3 गुना बढ़ जाना आमदन का तो बहुत बड़ी बात थी। फिर क्या हुआ, उसके वक्त में जहाँ यूपी में आ गया तो स्वामीनाथन जी का भी बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। अभी मेरे को उनके चरण छुए मिला, मेरा मन की वो भी शांति मिली मेरे को। हम उनके पास आए तो उनसे पूछा जी हमारी ज़मीन अल्कलाइन है, उसको कैसे सुधार करें। उन्होंने जिप्सम के लिए कहा और हमें बीकानेर जिप्सम लिमिटेड का बता भी दिया आसिफ अली रोड पे। हमने जिप्सम पाया और ज़मीन क्लेम हो गई। तो आगे जो कहानी बढ़ती है वो हमें नहीं पता था कैसे। राजगुप्ता जी को पता चला, वो आए और उन्होंने हमें कहा जी हम आपके तजर्बे करने चाहते हैं और हम किसानों के लिए फ़ायदेमंद होंगे। कम से कम खाद तो कम करेंगे, पानी कम होगा, जुताई नहीं होगी तो आमदन बढ़ेगी। तो फिर साथ में त्रिपाठी जी ने कहा, जो उनके साथ आए थे, बोरलॉग साहब आएंगे। तो जब बोरलॉग साहब का नाम लिया तो मैंने कहा हाँ जी हम करेंगे। तो वो हमने शुरू करा। हमें तो यकीन ही नहीं आया भी ऐसा भी कभी हो सकता, बिना जोते हम खेत बो दें, बिना जोते धान बो दें, जीरो टिल कर लें। और फिर एक और नई चीज़ आई, हमें बहुत हैरानी हुई भी वो खेत भी लेवल हो जाएंगे। मेरे लिए ये मुश्किल होता था, मतलब ज़्यादा काम तो हम कर रहे थे, या फाइनल करने में दिक्कत बहुत आती थी। हमें नहीं पता चलता था कि कहाँ ऊंचा है कहाँ नीचा है। तो वो जीरो लेवलर आ गया तो बहुत ही खुशी हुई जब हमारे खेतों में उन्होंने काम किया। तो फिर जो जीरो टिल थी उस वक्त तो हम ही लोग थे। अब पंजाब में बहुत काम हो रहा और हम भी कर रहे हैं। हमने मेरे भैया ने बोया, मैंने जो रिज पे डॉल बना के 8 एकड़ मेरे धान लगी हुई है। बहुत बढ़िया काम है। डॉक्टर जो दिलेर सिंह जी हैं यूनिवर्सिटी लुधियाना के, उन्होंने कहा। तो जितने भी आप वैज्ञानिक लोग हैं उनकी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हाँ ये बात ज़रूर है, मेहनत बहुत की हमने, तो उसका फल भी मिला। तो फिर क्या हुआ, 13/2 को डॉक्टर बोरलॉग साहब हमारा प्लाट देखने आए। तो मेरे मन में तो वही थी ना बात 1966 वाली। मेरे को नहीं पता चला, मैंने तो उनके चरण भी छुए और मैं रो पड़ा। अब भी मेरी आंखें नम हैं उनको याद करते हुए। तो उन्होंने मेरे आपके साथ लगाया और मेरे बड़े कंधे पे हाथ रखा और फोटोग्राफर ने वो फ़ोटो खींच ली, जो अब भी मेरे पास बहुत एक हमारे परिवार के पास बहुत बड़ी धरोहर है हमारी। तो और ये जो अब मेरे को तो इतने पता भी, मैं जहाँ जहाँ हिंदुस्तान में देख रहा हूँ, जहाँ गया हूँ, जहाँ हमारे पंजाब में, हापड़ में, इधर उधर बहुत बनने लगे जीरो लेवलर। तो हर किसान कराना चाहता है उसको। उससे खाद की बचत, उसके पानी की बचत, इतना फ़ायदा हुआ जो ये रास्ता हमें पता चला। और जीरो टिल जब लेबर की दिक्कत है तो हम जीरो टिल करेंगे, धान करेंगे, तो ऐसे गेहूँ करेंगे। तो महंगाई है, महंगाई का लड़ने का तरीका ये है, नई चीज़ें हमें मिले, हम करें, हम मेहनत करें, ये आप वैज्ञानिक लोग हमें बताएं। तो दूसरी बात बोरलॉग साहब की मैं क्या कहूँ, मैं नहीं अकेला, सारा ही किसान वर्ग जितना भी हमारा है, तो उनको भगवान है हमारे लिए। तो स्वामीनाथन जी भी, जब भी कोई बात होती है स्वामीनाथन जी पहले याद आते हैं। तो ये ऐसी बातें हैं। और मेरा टाइम हो गया होगा तो मेहरबानी बहुत बातें हैं, जितनी मर्जी में कर लूँ थोड़ी है।
We have now a common question for our 3 panelists. I think it is not by design, but they have all been sitting on one side and we are sitting on the other. But there is gender balance, so it's okay. Julie, Madhura and Usha, they Question is, building on the legacies of your grandfather and fathers, what elements of their vision remain most vital today? And how should we adapt them to meet the challenges of a more nation-sensitive, climate-resilient future? May I request Julie to begin with, please?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone here today, and I would like to thank the farmers for your kind words and what you meant to my grandfather. I think first and foremost, your fathers and my grandfather are smiling down on us because it's their daughters who are continuing their legacy. So thank you for having us all together. I think if you think about what my grandfather would most want us to remember is hunger has no ideology. So wherever our fathers, grandfathers worked, it benefited the world. And I think in this time and place in where we are in the world, we must remember hunger has no ideology. I think he would also like us to know, and we've talked about this, that agriculture cannot do it alone. Agriculture, the science, the farmers in the Green Revolution needed help, and they turned to government policy, brought infrastructure, irrigation, they made sure they had inputs, access, finance, and that is something that's so important, that we bring all industries that affect agriculture together so we can do it. And especially as we're moving into a more technology-driven, we're going to need the computer engineers and many others to join us. Also, and we've talked about this before, mentoring. It is so important, and if each of you would find someone to mentor, bring them along, and that's what my grandfather was able to do with the farmers and the researchers, and often he brought them to Mexico to Summit so he could bring them out of their environment so they'd be willing to test and try and be open to ideas. And that brings me back to the next generation. They are the ones who are going to answer how to do this in 2030 and 2050, and we need them with us right now so we can help inspire them, give them the training and the science, and help them understand that humanity, all in humanity, deserve to have food. Lastly, I think he would want us to know that everything starts and ends with the farmer. So the technologies that were developed by our grandfathers and fathers would have been no value if they were stuck still in the labs. They needed to get to the farmer. And the other thing that was successful with my grandfather was the farmers were the ones who were doing the testing, and the farmers were the ones who were saying what was needed. So we always need to lead with the farmers and not innovations that we're creating that the farmers do not use. And lastly, I would say bureaucracy. My grandfather was not one for bureaucracy. So let's not hold back our innovations and our research and choke the system, because we need them to get out. And my last point is communication. We can only get these innovations to the farmers if we get the policy right, if we get the public understanding, and then our partners understanding what we're doing and why we are doing. So every time you can speak with someone about your work, please do. And we know the farmers are far trusted more than the scientists, unfortunately, so we need to hear your voices. And I will pass the baton.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your insight and comments. Now I request Madhuraji.
Thank you, Dr. Paroda, and also, since I'm on stage, a big thank you to CIMID, DG of CIMID, and ICAR, DG, and of course the campus that is hosting us, NAS and IARI. I want to begin with a few words about my father, and I'm going to report what was written by a very close friend of his, Mr. N. Ram, a leading journalist in India, who was editor of The Hindu, and he wrote about 5 attributes of my father, and I think those have lessons for us. First, an all-embracing humanity. He lived every day till the end with an unwavering commitment to end hunger on this planet. A deep sense of social purpose, of doing things for the public good. A steel will to overcome political, bureaucratic, financial, and other constraints. Many of you know about these. The scientists here know how they have to fight for money. A scientific hardness, not bending to irrationality or fuzzy thinking. I want to underline this in today's India and the world at large. I think it's very, very important we follow the path of science, not irrationality. And the last, a gift of inventive practicality. He was a problem solver, so the science is used for practical problems. I think these are just following what you said, Julie, very much. Now let me say something else. What is the legacy of the Green Revolution? There's something which is not adequately recognized, and not just the legacy of Borlaug and Swaminathan, but millions of scientists and extension workers and farmers. And that is how India fared during COVID-19. Because we have many foreign guests with us here. The lockdown in India was announced on March 25th, 2020. And my father always said, every crisis provides an opportunity too. And I remember writing a few days later in The Hindu about how we needed to expand our public distribution system and the food rations, and to use this crisis where unprecedented economic crisis with potentially high levels of mortality, to actually see how we can sustain and nourish a population. And that expanding the public distribution system, our system of distribution of food, would be one pillar of an overall social support system. And a very, very bold decision was taken by the government of India, as you all know, to double the rations, double the quantity of cereals. Many state governments, starting with Kerala and Tamil Nadu, took the lead in adding other commodities, in adding pulses, in adding oilseeds. Kerala had a 17-item grocery kit. So I think what I want to say is, together, the government of India, the state governments, officials, and I want to mention here the Food Corporation of India, the railways, there's so many people who work together to ensure that during COVID, India could provide basic food security. And I just saw this number with the Food Corporation of India has put out. Between April 2020 and December 2022, the Food Corporation of India transported 112 million tons of grain to different parts of the country, reaching 800 million people. I think this is a record, even outside wartime, there's a record in terms of food distribution program. And I think this is a legacy of the Green Revolution. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has actually estimated that poverty in India would have been 30% higher if this expanded distribution of food had not been in place. Let me put out a call for action. For several months now, we have seen a crisis of hunger and starvation on our social media, on our phones, the deaths in Gaza. And I think to this esteemed audience, who are committed to taking the mission of feeding the world forward, let us call for food and water to not be instruments of war. Thank you.
Thank you. Very important call. Appreciate that, and very emotional also in relation to our future food security and nutrition and health. Usha ji.
Very much, Dr. Parora, and I also want to thank the World Food Prize Foundation for giving me this opportunity to be here with you. I too was thinking about the legacy, and legacy sometimes, it's in the past, and very difficult to live up to somebody's legacy. So I was thinking about what was it that was that came to my mind immediately when I think about how my father started his journey and what gave him the success. So 3 traits, and I think they are not that different from, but slightly, in my own words. My father believed that innovation and technology would change the smallholder farmer. He would go to every science fair that was there to see what was new. And that's how he landed up in Pusa also and got the bhindi hybrid that was one of his first products that he produced. So the belief, all of his life, till the last day, he believed science was the magic that would change smallholder farmers' life. The second part that I remember is never give up attitude. The bureaucracy, I think, is something that we all experience. I remember as a child, he would come to Delhi. He would come back home, and when he reached home, he would maybe say that he was never going to Delhi again. But after a good night's sleep, he would wake up and say, okay, maybe next week I will go back. So this attitude of never giving up on what was very clear to him, that we needed to bring technologies and innovation to the smallholder farmer. And I think till the end, he never lost sight of what was important. So humility, knowing that whatever we did impacted the smallholder farmers was very, very close to his heart. And when I think about, and I know we have so many farmers here with us, that I want to acknowledge that the farmers are the ones, while we talk about all of the different players in the Green Revolution, but the farmers are the ones who actually delivered the food. And when I think about lighting the path, next path, they are the ones who will continue to deliver the light and the food for all of us. And so I want to make sure that whatever it is that we are doing today and will do continues to provide the tools which are essential to ensure that they are able to put food not only for us but for the world. As my friend in the previous session said, Purvi said, the farmers don't farm because they feel it is good for the environment. They don't farm because they feel they are conserving water, but they farm because it's the livelihood for them. And it is our job, our responsibility to bring the best of technologies to the farmers so they are able to do so in a sustainable manner. I will stop here for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate again your comments and views relating to legacy of Badrinath Barwale ji. To now Dr. Navtej Singh Bans. From your academic leadership, Bans Sahab, what lessons we have got from Dr. Borlaug, Swaminathan, and Barwale, which are relevant today, and how should these be adapted to address emerging challenges in Indian agriculture? It's a big question, but you have to sum it up in 4 minutes.
Thank you, sir. So this is a privilege to be part of this panel and to be with this audience here. It may be useful to be reminded that Borlaug's technology, when it arrived in India, had been perfected to a point which was unimaginable. Means it was not just yield, it was resistance, it was adaptation. Even the amber grain that our local preference looked for was just a whisker away, because we were not just getting the varieties, but a breeding pipeline. And then this material had been tested in the farmers' fields in Mexico, a lot of weight behind it. So means this is something that had been years in making. And then if we look on our side here, particularly in Punjab and Haryana, which became the hub of Green Revolution, there had been at least 1.5 decades of development for this. There had been land consolidation, irrigation, infrastructure, development, good governance in the place. And then we had a population which was a human resource, which was rearing to go after that setback of partition. So all these things brought together through the mediation of Dr. Borlaug and Dr. Swaminathan, when it happened, it got sort of clicked with a, I say with a loud signal to the whole world. And then there were the doomsayers, Ehrlich and the Paddock brothers. We all have seen those books. Also, the click silenced them for the coming, and then the things kind of rolled on. So this is the point that I'm just trying to make here was that when we say take it to the farmer, and then the way the things happened here, and it became named like a revolution. It did happen like a revolution, but we often lose sight of the lot of background work. This moksha from hunger, this enlightenment, this mantra, take it to the farmer, it had years of meditation and hard work behind it. So, and then again, sticking to the Green Revolution, the original Green Revolution hub, about which I know a little, the Punjab and the Haryana part. What are our challenges today? And how do the legacies of these stalwarts help us? Well, the challenges today are about the natural resources, about the groundwater, about the soil health, about the air quality. And we have the technologies. Our institutes, the international system, the national institutes are working towards this. And there's a huge lineup of these technologies. But when it comes to taking to the farmer, I say we are facing a very, very uphill task. Because these technologies, though Usha mentioned that farmers farm for livelihood, now we are in a different kind of a paradigm now, that farmers will have to be farming for more than that, more than food, for ecosystem services, for their own sustainability, for the sustainability of their system, right? So these technologies may not be payback immediately. They have a stagger, they have a transition cost involved, and there is people are already squeezed for the returns from the rice wheat system, and people are kind of using the gains of the earlier years of Green Revolution just as a kind of an exit plan for, to migrate to other countries. We see that so much in Punjab and Haryana. And there is a lot of informal land leasing out where the sustainability again takes a hit. And then the populist the policies with the government, they are coming in the way of taking the technology to the farmer. For example, free power versus the technologies which are for water saving. And populist and commercial interests are sometimes out to hijack the crisis situation rather than solve it. And I might say that there is a kind of a void in which the coming 5 to 10 years, we are not in a very good position to imagine who is our farmer. So taking to the farmer has got into that kind of a challenge right now. And it was really interesting to listen to the legacies of Dr. Borlaug, Dr. Swaminathan, Dr. Bardwale from the granddaughter and the daughters here. And we need, this enlightened group of scientists, we need to think how to link these legacies to the challenges that we face today. And for these stalwarts, they had the capacity to take infinite pain, and that was their genius. Ms. Borlaug said, don't chase academic butterflies, get down to problem solving. And so this is also what Madhura mentioned about Dr. Swaminathan. And then innovate despite resistance. And we all know very well the story of how Borlaug went for shuttle breeding despite all advice against it. And it would have made all the difference, you know. Green Revolution was just a revolution in the nick of time. And had that not happened, we had 3 years of drought coming on and so many other issues and problems. So it was that simple one innovation against resistance would have, means it makes up a nation. So I would go on to some practical points maybe in the next round. So this much for the moment, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have time constraints, so appreciate, and also happy to know that there are technological options to address the concerns of Punjab, Haryana farmers, and efforts are being made in that direction. We have now the last round of discussion, and just one question for as short as 1 minute, not more than one. If you have one goal for the future of agriculture and food systems, as the slide says, is there any slide here? What comes next? तो आपके हिसाब से क्या चीज़ होनी चाहिए अगर एक ही कोई बात करनी है आगे की सिक्योरिटी के लिए, फूड की, किसानों की इनकम की और खेती को सुरक्षित करने की, तो क्या आपके
में बहुत दफ़ा आता है भाई हमारी गंगा का बांध लगा दिया जाए तो हम बाकी मुल्क को और फसलें बोए, हम इनको गेहूं और चावल पैदा करके दे देंगे सारी हिंदुस्तान को, सिर्फ हम यूपी वाली गंगा का बांध लग जाए दोनों तरफ, यही कहना।
Thank you very much. May I come to Julie, please?
There are so many things I could say, and if it was my grandfather, I'd take another hour. But I have 1 minute, so I am going to say famines. We must end famines. Our fathers and grandfathers would not stand for what is going on. We produce enough, we have enough technology to get rapid nutrition to children and those in aid. But it's not just the political will that's lacking. We, the people, must make sure the public knows that this can happen no more.
Thank you. Important message. Madhura ji?
About take it to the farmer. The last few days we've been lucky, we've been listening to farmers. But I would say inclusion means something more. My key word for the future is inclusion. We change the way we do things. We know who we have not included yet. the women farmers who are increasingly doing all the work in agriculture as the men migrate to cities, but are not recognized, not usually unpaid. And I'll just end with one thought here. The Nobel laureate from India, Amartya Sen, has written a framework, what he calls public action from below. So if we want change, there's action from above, which is policy, which is the banks, all the scientists bring new technology. But change requires public action from below, which is through farmer collectives, through women's groups, through decentralized institutions as we have in India, like panchayats. So we have to include these collectives in our decision making.
Yes, Usha ji.
The action point in my mind is to think about creating new pathways, income pathways, so as to increase livelihoods of the current farmers, but not only livelihoods of the current farmers, but make agriculture exciting for the youth, for the new generation of farmers. Because if you go to the farm and see a 60-year-old farming, but no young people are interested in farming, to me it's something that we really need to tackle. So how do you create excitement? And urgency and incentive both go hand in hand. So if we have an incentive, a financial incentive, which comes to the farmer, the young people, the new generation of farmers may come back to farming, that would be my call to action.
Good, very important. Thank you very much. Avtej,
Very quickly, I have to mention that we need to rethink our technology transfer, or rather I would say technology co-creation strategy. But there has to be, because with the resource conservation and such new technologies that we're trying out, there has to be a lot of back and forth between the farmer and the scientist, and it needs the kind of intensity that maybe these stalwarts had. We all need to catch on with a little of that. That engagement is required for, and then there is the policy backdrop has to be enabling for these technologies to progress towards the farmers. And finally, the world view is very important. Because the technology is housed in institutes, the institute is embodied in the world views. And the world view we need to adopt now, as for agriculture is concerned, it's more than food. It's kind of a one health system. It's an ecosystem service to the planet. So that we need to imbibe completely in the whole of the scientific and the farming community needs to do that. Thank you so much.
thank you. I think everything should come to an end, and I must also conclude briefly. This had been a very enlightening session, and good suggestions have emerged. Good messages have come that there is no need for complacency. We need to move forward. Business as usual will not help. So we will have to bring in change, and change using the new technologies. Policies have to also change and to be bottom up. We also would require to see that farmer is upfront, so farmer first approach. He needs to be provided support and proper knowledge. Communication strategy has to be also relooked at in terms of providing them best access to best knowledge at the right time, including the best inputs and at his doorsteps, and also the opportunities of linking them directly to the market, so that income increases, and concern for food and nutrition security is not yet over. We should not be just thinking that our job is done. Sustainable Development Goals have to be achieved at the faster pace. Time is running out. We need to walk the talk, and in the whole process, we do see, through the torch, which all these three eminent people, leaders who had given us hope for the future, we have to see that this torch is ignited and brings better light for the younger generation. With this, I would like to end this session and to thank all the panelists for their insight, and I think we have done a reasonably good job for ourselves, and that too within time, I suppose. Organizers will say time is out, so doesn't matter. But thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, and to the organizers for having included this important session, and I hope the recommendations would be included in the proceedings of DialogueNEXT, the third DialogueNEXT, which has been hosted here in India. Thank you very much.